All right, Jeanie Buss also frustrated as well too. Jeanie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, obviously Lakers had a disappointing season. A season with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook did not even make the playoffs. They make the play-in, let alone the playoffs this year. Jeanie Buss is very frustrated with how the season went. She was quoted recently saying, "quote I'm growing impatient because we had the fourth highest payroll in the league. When you spend that kind of money in a luxury tax, you expect to go deep in the playoffs. Not you expect not to go deep in the playoffs. You expect to make the playoffs, especially to let alone the play-in." Like, at least make the play-in. The fact to make the play-in, and we know why it didn't happen. But the thing is, even with the Anthony Davis injuries and stuff, the reason you bring Russell Westbrook to the team is because if you lose LeBron for a stretch of the year, or you lose Davis for a stretch of the year, Westbrook's supposed to patch that up. But the problem is, and this is why I think this format's not going to work much longer, or it doesn't work as much as it used to. Having the 3 stars and the rest of, 3 max players, and then the rest of the roster, just filling a bunch of veteran minimums and stuff. The reason why it's not no longer as effective, I think now, especially with this team, is I think teams now are getting smarter. Development's much better now. You got much more teams in the league now that are more filled out. I can't talk today. What's going on? That are filled out, but better rosters. Look at the Heat roster, for example. No one seed in the East. Jimmy Butler's a superstar. Yeah, I agree. He's a star, but they have a bunch of really, 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 really good role players around them too. Same with the Phoenix Suns. So, if you're getting LeBron James at age 35, 34, 33, you're getting AD for maybe say 5 more games a year, 10 more games a year, staying healthy. Yeah, the Lakers are a contender. But as I said last year too, I wasn't sure. I thought the Lakers would be a playoff team last year, but I always questioned the Westbrook fit anyway, and the Westbrook fit was bad. It's a bad fit. And the fact I'm not saying LeBron James shouldn't have any input on rosters and on decision making, because I think your star players should have input, but he shouldn't be the final answer. And you saw here, he's the one that okayed the Westbrook trade. Okay, that did not work. Furthermore, the Lakers are in trouble because I spoke those on the podcast last week. I think maybe a couple days ago. I think LeBron James is done winning titles unless he gets traded out of LA, because LA's problems with AD's injury history, the Westbrook contract was only 1 more year, but Westbrook is not a good fit. It's a bad roster, and I don't know if there might be a team out there who might take this contract for 1 more year, but I don't know what you're getting back in that at this point. They're in trouble, and remember, we're playing with the LeBron window, when the window is pretty much year to year at this point. Also, the league is getting better now. Teams are getting better, and you're going to have more teams now that missed the playoffs or who underwhelmed this year because of injuries are going to be back in the mix next year, like the Clippers and the Pelicans and whatnot. So the Lakers, even if they bounce back somehow next year, I can't necessarily call them a title contender next year because you got so many good teams in the league right now, and a lot of those teams are going to be pretty much the same for another year or two. Golden States and Memphis and Phoenix and whatnot, and the Bostons and Milwaukee's. LA's not better than those teams. Even if things changed and AD play better, yeah, they'll be a playoff team, but they're not going to be a champion. I doubt they'll be a championship contender at this point. Their roster's bad. It's a bad roster, and they're stuck. So really, to be honest with you, you got to try to find a way to trade Westbrook, get some pieces back. I don't know how it'll work. But then the other question now is too: do you consider trading LeBron? If you're trading LeBron James, I'm not saying you should, but if you're trading LeBron James, then you really have to. You're really at this point rebuilding. You know what I'm saying? Either keep AD or you trade AD. I mean, AD has some value still because of the, when he's healthy, he's one of the 10 best players in the league. But when he's healthy, and this is who he is, unfortunately now. So, this is gonna be an interesting offseason for the Lakers and what they do.